This isn't right. Tastes like burning.
Oh, shit. Hey everybody, Ryan here with PuffEasy.net. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Thanks for checking out the video. I'm gonna give you a quick overview of the Mini Lambo variable voltage mod by 777 eCigs. So you can either buy just the Lambo Mini, which will come with just the unit itself, no battery, no tank or cartomizers, no liquid, anything like that. They also sell a starter kit, which does include all this stuff extra needed to get going. But let's go ahead and open this up. So, I'm going to open up this side, and then there's a little ribbon here you can pull it out with. And then also inside is just a one-sheet rundown of the Mini Lambo and just information on it and how to use it. So here's the Mini Lambo. It's stainless steel. They've put a bunch of vents on the bottom for safety features or reasons, I guess. It's got a nice big knobby push button for activation, and then smaller plus and minus buttons up here for increasing or decreasing your voltage. And then there's an LED screen here that will show you what voltage you've selected. You can go between 3 and 6 volts, and each time you hit the button it either goes up or down by 0.1 volt. And the Mini Lambo was introduced to be a more compact variable voltage mod, so it's kind of between the size of the Ego batteries and some of the larger variable voltage mods that most people are used to. So on top of the Mini Lambo, they sent 777 sent the 14500 rechargeable battery. They didn't send a charger, but I believe I've got a few that might work for it. And then a T3 tank clearmizer. So I actually haven't tried this one yet. I've tried some of their smaller tanks that are essentially the same, just smaller. These T3 tanks will hold up to 3 milliliters of liquid. What's kind of threw me off when I first started using 777's eCigs is that their tanks, rather than unscrewing from the top, so you fill it like that, you have to unscrew it upside down. And the atomizer coil and all of that, come out there, and then you fill up the e-liquid here. Again, it holds up to 3 milliliters of e-liquid. And then another cool thing about 777's tank cartomizers is they have replaceable coils. So inside here is your atomizer, and the wicking material and the atomizer can get dirty maybe after half a month to a month. So you can either try re-cleaning and reusing these once they're dirty, or you can just toss them out because you can order 5-packs of replacement coils for pretty cheap from 777. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, you got to get used to unscrewing it upside down. The first few times I'd unscrew it like this and all the liquid would pour out all over my hand, which is no fun. And then finally we have a bottle of classic tobacco 24 milligram e-liquid. All of 777 stuff comes in really nice packaging. It all comes wrapped tightly in plastic, so I removed all of it before the video just to not eat up more time. And it's pretty simple from there. So I'm going to take the Mini Lambo, unscrew the bottom, put the positive side in first, screw it back on. I'm hoping it's pre-charged, and it looks like it is. It's actually one of the clearest LED screens I've seen on a variable voltage mod. So that's nice. And yes, again, when you hit it, it goes up by 0.1 volt with each plus, and then you can go back down with the minus button. Set that aside, and you should be able to, I haven't really looked into it, but most of these, when you hit the button a number of times, it will lock it so it doesn't go off in your pocket. Doesn't look like it's turning off for me though. Oh yeah, I think it just turned off. So again, we'll set that aside. Unscrew this bad boy. Make sure that coil's on tight. Take your e-liquid. All of 777 sells a bunch of different e-liquids and e-Cigs, and they all come in tinted brown glass bottles like this with a really nice dropper top. And it kind of gets skinnier on the end, which is nice for these types of cartridges because you can put it right in on the side and just squeeze it right in. So I'll go ahead and fill this part of the way here. Alright. Then we'll screw the coil and atomizer back on there. Flip it back over and let it soak in a bit. I usually like to let it sit, you know, around a minute or so. These actually prime pretty quickly, but I'm going to let it sit a little while. I can screw it on while we're waiting. Alright, so once it's all together, it's still pretty long. Again, because it's a larger 3 milliliter tank, it increases the size. You can use shorter ones. Really, any cartomizer, clearomizer, or cartridge that has Ego or 510 threading on it will work on this. Let's make sure it's on. And I'm going to start it off low just in case it's not completely soaked in, but I'll start at 3 volts here and see how she does. So kind of average amount of vapor there. The 24 milligrams does have a pretty noticeable throat hit. You can get lower milligram content if you want. I'm going to bump her up to about 4 volts now. Slightly more vapor, definitely a much more noticeable throat hit. I haven't been using variable voltage much lately, so I've probably been vaping more around 3.5 volts. But let's go up to 5 volts. Again, you can see the screen there. A little bit more vapor, a little bit more throat hit. I'm going to max it out at 6 volts. And it's wicking really nicely. It doesn't taste burnt or anything like that. It's already soaked into the atomizer and it's hitting just fine. So yeah, not used to the 6 volts with the 24 milligram e-liquid, but it hits hard. You can definitely feel it. Usually you get used to throat hit at higher voltages after a while, but when you're used to using the Egos or smaller ones at lower volts, it kind of hits you in the throat pretty hard when you're not used to it. But I'm impressed so far. I really like their classic e-liquid. Some of their, a while back, 777 sent us a bunch of e-liquids and some other kits and stuff, and I tried out a bunch, and a lot of them were really hit or miss with me. I either liked them or just didn't like it. The e-Cigs are kind of meant more for their e-hookah line, and I noticed a lot of their e-Cigs taste a lot more perfumey, but this classic e-liquid is just fine in my book. Not one of my favorites, but it's good. I could vape it all day, I think, no problem, and I have before. They just came out with some new liquids as well. They now have RY7. I was hoping to try that out, but I think they're selling it pretty fast, so they weren't able to send me one for free for review purposes. But I'm pretty happy with this setup. So I think, you know, if you're just getting into vaping You know, it's not a bad first kit to go with. I would probably start at a lower voltage, like 3.5 to 4 volts, but it tastes great. You can hear it a little bit when it's heating up in there. It's a little bit of bubbling and crackling sound, which is normal, but so yeah, that's really it. You know, just use it till the battery's dead and recharge your battery, and you're good to go again. I again always recommend 2 batteries so you can be using one and while the other one's charging, and you never have to sit without, you know, charged batteries. Um, but I'm pretty impressed with this. It feels very sturdy and solid, well put together. It's got a nice finish on it, and it seems to be working just fine for me so far. So I will be also writing a written review over the course of the next day or so, and if anything else comes up, I'll include it there. But for the time being, pretty impressed. Thanks a lot to 777 for sending this out, and you guys have a great day. Bye.